3-2 winners yesterday. You just heard Ceddanne Rafaela, 2-run home run in the 9th inning. Another dramatic win for the Boston Red Sox as they keep it rolling down in Baltimore. They'll look to complete the sweep this afternoon. I thought last night, though, Thundero summed up this season as a whole perfectly. Mm-hmm. That was the Boston Red Sox of 2025 rolled up into one game. That was my big takeaway from that one.
Don't let this team off the hook. Too many people are letting this team off the hook. I don't care that it's been fun. It has been fun. I'm enjoying some of these wins. Don't let them off the hook, okay? I don't want them to be closer to what they used to be. I don't want them to dabble in what they used to be. I want them to be what they used to be. So I'm sorry. I'm not going to get all up. I'm going to still keep my eye on the prize, which is, to me, still the World Series. Okay, and they're still not doing everything that they could do to win the World Series. They've gotten closer. That's better. So I'm happy with the progress, but we're not there yet, and I'm not letting them off the hook. Right now, I feel like we're in the late 90s, and it was good. Okay, it was better than what it was in the early 90s.
Oh, Jose Offerman,
we're in the late
yeah,
90s.
Absolutely.
We got Pedro. That was a nice signing. They got Manny. Nice signing. They did not, in the late 90s, though, do anything and everything to win. They got a couple big names, and it was like, wow, we could actually do this. And we're going to actually start contending. Then you remember what happened. They made the playoffs. They lost to Cleveland. They made the playoffs. They lost to the Yankees, which was fine. Then they figured out, you know what, damn it, we could do what we need to do to win. And they got Schilling, and they were savvy with different moves and did what they had to do at the time, 2003 and on, to win it all. Okay? We are getting back to that, but we're not all the way there. Trade deadlines. I need more at the trade. I didn't get it this year. Okay? Roman Anthony. Nice deal. But that was still a deal I felt like to save money. That wasn't doing everything and anything.
Well, if you really wanted to bring him up earlier, too, you could have.
Correct.
Because clearly he did not need the seasoning that they made it sound like in AAA at the time, for sure.
Rafael Devers. Okay, I was thinking about this earlier today. Now, I understand every team dynamic is different, but back in the day, you had the infrastructure in place to keep a player like that. Wasn't Manny Ramirez a little bit like that? Manny was a little bit of a pain in the ass. Manny was a little bit of a space shot, but they had Tito. They had David Ortiz. They had a leadership group, Jason Varitek, whomever, that helped keep him just enough in line so you could yield the fruits of his beautiful offensive labor, whatever you want to say, because he was such a good offensive player. They couldn't do that this year. They didn't have the infrastructure. They had to trade the guy. Now it's worked out, but you could have had Anthony and Devers, because that's what they had back in the day. They had Ortiz and Ramirez. I just don't want them to get comfortable and become the Tampa Bay Rays, where, hey, they figured out how to win on a budget, and they're good, but never great. Or they're there, but never can get it done and win the World Series. Don't fall for it. It's good. That's been progress. Crochet, good progress. Alex Bregman, good progress. They're not all the way there. They're not all the way back, and I'm not letting them off the hook until I see it in every which way. Trade deadline, off-season, in-season, everything. They need to be all in like they used to be, or I don't think they're going to win the World Series. They always did stuff at the trade deadline. Gagne, obviously the Nomar trade, PV, even Steve
you can go
Pierce.
down the list. Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I want more of that. I just need it from every which way, and I'm not getting it, so I'm not going to fall for it. I'm happy. It's been good. They're contenders, but it's not all the way back.
Yeah, look, it's hard to argue with what you're saying in terms of the front office not going all the way in on this season, because I don't think that they've had the sense of urgency that a normal contender would be. And I think big picture, when you look at this team, you can squarely look at the big picture in the American League and say that this is a team that can contend to win the American League. I think they're absolutely squarely in that conversation. And if you had done more throughout the year to bolster this lineup, you could really make a real run at it and potentially be the favorite moving forward. I don't know what to make of this team coming off of yesterday, just because you had the highs of a 2-run, go-ahead home run in the 9th inning, and you also got some of the worst baseball that I've seen at the major league level from this Red Sox team. It is a dumb team at times, and it is a team that can't execute at times, and it drives you absolutely crazy. Can we go through some of the stuff that took place yesterday?
Sure.
So, to start off, you get Roman Anthony, again, home run.
Yep.
A lot of people I saw on social media, by the way, talking about how the crack of the bat sounded different. That was actually the sound of T-Bone throwing his remote at the TV when he actually hit that home
Not
run.
enough
That's what
power.
that was.
5 homers in 15 games.
But after that, you had Bayo in the second inning. Gives up a base hit with
What has
two.
he done?
Gives up a base hit with 2 outs. Shrug your shoulders, whatever. Then throws what I think should have been called a strike at the time. But you know what? And even Lou brought this up. Mm-hmm. But Connor Wong, it looked like a Little League catcher that hadn't broken in his glove completely. The ball pops out. Runner winds up at second base. Then there's a pop-up to shallow center where Cedon Rafaela makes that play. I mean, like 999 times out of 1,000. And honestly, I thought he broke his wrist, Milliken, on that play.
Didn't have to dive.
Probably not, to be totally honest with you. Ball drops in. They score a run. And you're looking at it going, how did Baltimore just did nothing there, and they tie this thing up at 1. Fast forward into the 7th inning. Cruising, 2 outs. Bayo walks a guy. All right, no big deal. Fly ball into left center. Looked it up, Milliken, because we talked about this before. Catch probability for Durant on that play, 95%. Catch probability for Cedon Rafael on that play, 85%. That's a 180% chance of catching the ball. And I know it doesn't work like that, but you know what 95% plus 85% actually means when you talk about catch probability? It means you should catch the ball. They didn't.
It was an average of
in.
about 90%.
2-1. And you're going, how are they trailing in this game at this point? Fast forward to the 8th inning. Runners on first and third. Nobody out. Roman Anthony, Alex Bregman up. You just got to put it, your 2 sluggers, your 2 best hitters, you just got to put it in play. Strikeout, Trevor Story ground out. 2-1. And then you get to sit on Rafaela, 2-run shot, and then you bring in 64-year-old Aroldis Chapman, who right now is making Mariano Rivera look like John Wasden. They're the best reliever I've ever seen in my life right now. Unhittable.
So
I don't know what to make. You have a young, exciting player, Roman Anthony, coming into his own. You have Brian Bayo emerging as a legit number 2 starter. You have Cedon Rafaela coming through in the clutch, again, like we've seen in the past. You have a lights-out closer right now who could be everything you want and more. And still, there are moments in that game where you go, I don't know if the Boston Red Sox know what they are doing. I don't know what to make of the whole thing, Dundaro.
First of all, I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Aroldis Chapman is a Hall of Famer, isn't he? I mean, he's 2 World Series. He's got a bunch of All-Star games.
He was an elite level reliever at the time. I don't think anybody expected anything close to this.
No,
when they
I
signed
guess
him
not.
in this
I guess.
offseason.
I mean, his slider has been good. He has had a good slider, especially the last few outings. Look, I don't know what to tell you. Roman Anthony, he's awesome. That pitch in the 8th inning, that's too close to take. You know, whatever. That happens. It was inexcusable what happened in left center field. You have both guys looking at each other. Now, I think that should have been Cedon's ball. He's a center fielder. You have priority. I'm not saying I don't trust Jarren Duran to make that catch, but I would know that I'm the plus fielder there. And if I have a chance, it's 85% or whatever, I would be going to make that catch. So that was an embarrassment, especially with a guy that could score. You're not wrong. I just, they find ways to win. And that's the fun part of what we're doing right now. They're finding ways to win, and I think that's just kind of what they are.
They find ways to win, and that's great. And I do think that you can ride that into the postseason. But with the way that they play sometimes, I also think that one of these back-breaking mistakes or not being able to get a runner in from third with nobody out could come back to bite you when the postseason begins.
It is going to come back to bite them. Not could, it will.
Yeah.
I mean, they have their best hitters 21 years old. You're not going to ride that guy to a World Series championship. That's another reason why I'm upset. They had a chance. They were right there. They have the infrastructure. They have the ace. They've got some veterans now with Bregman. If they had found a way to build this team better, they would have been right there. But now they're not. And now they're good, but they're not great. And it's fun, but it's not great because they could have been better. And that's why I'm not letting them off the hook. That was I love Cedon Rafael. And we were talking, Tyler and I were talking about the comparison between Cedon and Jackie Bradley Jr., which is a debate I'm loving. Because it's like, both guys were kind of frustrating, but they had their moments, these unbelievable moments. If he could do some of the things he's done in the regular season, in the postseason, that could be a difference maker. But again, now I'm waiting and hoping for this type of unbelievable hot streak that a guy that's maybe not capable of sustaining it has to get on for them to really go to a different level, and that's what I'm worried about.
No doubt. What do you got, Milliken?
No, and I think that's where you go back to the offense and the loss of Rafael Devers. You go since the All-Star break, they're 16th in OPS. You go back to when the day Devers was traded, June 15th, they're 15th in WRC+. So this is a very average offense in a lot of ways, and that's what makes it so scary when you take them out of Fenway Park. You have to play in a place like Camden yesterday that is huge. The outfield you're going to fly out to the warning track a bunch of different times. But I do think these are some of the characteristics you see of a young baseball team as well, where some moments you see the vision, you're like, it's all coming together, and then they do some of these stupid things. I think what you kind of cling to is that through the first 23 one games they played this year, they were 6-17. They're 13-7 in their last 20. So there's been real growth in that department. They're showing they can win some of these close games. I think that's some of the stuff that you cling to in some of these moments. And it's that, and it's a combination of what the American League is right now. When you're talking about the teams you're going to go up against here, the Tigers are in big trouble. I don't know if people know this, but outside of Tarek Skubal, they don't have anything. Casey Mize has fallen off a cliff since the All-Star break. Jack Flaherty, he is not the Jack Flaherty from a year ago. You start to look around, the Mariners, the Yankees, these are teams that dominate at home, but they aren't very good on the road. The Mariners are 4 games below 500 on the road. You get them at home, they're going to pitch their ass off because that's what they can do. The Yankees, we saw, if they can't hit homers to right field, it becomes a pretty significant problem for them. And those teams, I think the Mariners have better pitching than you. The Yankees right now, they have 2 starters they feel good about, and it's Max Fried and Carlos Rodon. You have 2 starters you feel good about, and that's right now with Crochet, and that's with Brian Bayo. I think Lucas Giolito's been up and down since the All-Star break, but I don't know how you don't look at yesterday and you have to clap for Brian Bayo quite a bit, because there are a lot of things in that game that used to spiral him.
Yeah.
He would have fallen off. How about the Trevor Story play where the ball just rolled underneath his glove?
Great point,
Like
Milliken.
another
Yeah.
one in there where he usually, like, when those moments happen where the Rafaela ball pops out of his glove, he'd give up
Unravels.
4,
Yeah.
5 runs, and he'd start getting mad on the mound. What did he do? He should have got through 7 innings if you catch that ball in the outfield, but still, he now has a sub-3 ERA. This is a guy who's showing up every single day and giving you number 2 production, and when you have the best ERA in the sport since June 8th, that's what changed everything for this Red Sox team, and they continue to show that that is not a fluke. That is something they're able to hold on to between that and the bullpen.
You buying them as World Series contenders, Dundaro?
No.
Like Kevin Millar just said in that clip?
I don't know. As a contender, I don't think I don't think they're going to win it. I don't think they've done enough to win it.
What's his team missing?
Well, I would have liked, first of all, you know what, honestly, I would have liked? Just the effort. They're probably missing a bat. They're probably missing a starter or at least a bullpen, like one more arm. Brian Bayo, I will say this, and correct me if I'm wrong, anybody in this room. He's not Eduardo Rodriguez, is he? I think he's better. Is he better? Do you see him as better? Like, I think the potential, obviously there's still future potential there. I think he's better than Eduardo Rodriguez. I trust him more than I ever trusted Eduardo
For
Rodriguez.
sure. Absolutely.
So that's good. I think he's a legit, right now, number 2.
Yeah.
So that might take you off the hook for some of what you might have gotten from a guy like Joe Ryan. I still don't trust the entire staff in a postseason. I don't trust the process. I don't think their process was that of a World Series, a true World Series contender. I don't know what to tell. Maybe I'm wrong. I'll happily be wrong. The process doesn't say World Series contender to me, and that's why I'm upset, because they have the pieces to put them there. Their process failed them, and that's what I think is going to fail them.
Yeah, the missing piece for me was a sense of urgency from the front office with
Right.
a team that did have the pieces when everything kind of came together. And I think they're probably surprised at the output that they've gotten with some of the players on this roster for sure, and the continued emergence of some of these players. Look, I think we all thought Roman Anthony was going to be good. I think they thought Roman Anthony was going to be good. I'm sure the front office is a little surprised at how well he is playing right now, and arguably their best bat in the lineup probably has them surprised a little bit, because I think if you look at it, the bat, one more bat to me makes them a legit contender. It still feels like that lineup is going to be a bat short, Milliken.
It worked well last night. Cedon Rafaela hit 5th. It worked well. I know Alex Cora after the game gave Ramon Vasquez all this credit, and hey, it worked out. But Cedon Rafaela was hitting 5th. We know in the ideal lineup, it's between 7 and 9. That's where he should be most nights. If you could imagine a world where Rafael Devers was in the middle, you feel great. I also think you're short a Game 3 starter. I think Bayo's emerged as that number 2.
You just don't have faith in Giolito?
I'm worried about him innings-wise, just coming after having elbow surgery from a year ago.
Fair.
He's been up and down in the second half. I do think there's some concerns. And what was great about him the other night, he got up to 96. The last time he had done that was the Houston start, which was 4 starts ago. For him, if the fastball isn't playing up, up. All of a sudden, the changeup doesn't work, and his whole arsenal kind of falls flat. And they knew. That's why they were so disappointed at the trade deadline when they weren't able to get a Joe Ryan or a Sandy Alcantara or whoever you wanted, because they knew that if you could go and get that guy, you could go head-to-head with any team in the AL. It feels like you're a few bullets shy, and I also think there's something about a young team getting to the playoffs, and a lot of these guys are not only going to be playing at a time of the year they haven't played in before, but at stakes they haven't played before. That brings new energy, that brings new pressure, and I think that's part of the reason why home field advantage is so important, and that first wild card.
Baseball's a finicky game. And I don't want to preach, but you have guys that will go in and out of production. There's slumps, there's hot streaks. You go in and out all the time. Okay? And the best way to combat that is to have dudes. Okay? And you have to have those guys, because when the other players around them don't hit, you need the ultra talented guy for his talent to rise up and become the most stable thing. I mean, that's what we always saw with Manny Ramirez. Even when he slumped, he wasn't really, because he was so good, he could get out of it so quickly. I'm worried that, yes, it's been fun. There's been moments where Bayo has been electric, Rafaela. And it's just, eventually, if a couple guys go cold, I think it's a completely different lineup. And you're in a completely different spot, and you need your process to back that mentality where it's not about the analytics and the numbers and the data and all that. You need dudes. And they just haven't prioritized getting enough of those guys. That's why the Dodgers are always there. It's no secret. You get all the best talent, you're going to win. You need a team aspect to it. You know, that's what Theo was good at. That's what some of the best teams are able to do. But you have to have like, if Devers was still here, it should be a completely different team.
Bregman's a dude.
He's a
for
dude.
Sure. You got one of them.
He's a dude.
In Bregman.
Yeah.
But I also look at it and just the lack of sense of urgency and you have a nice young core that you're going to be able to build around moving forward, right? Talk about Crochet, Bayo, both in the rotation. Roman Anthony looks like he is going to be a pillar of the franchise for years to come. I get that. But you also have a year right now where you're getting an unbelievable season out of Chapman. Bregman's everything you possibly could have wanted. You have Giolito pitching well. You have Trevor Story back. You have Crochet pitching like a legit ace. Cash in the chips, man. Go for it. Because you don't know. You
didn't
don't
do
know
that.
You don't know you don't know how long that stuff is going to last. Bregman might opt out. Giolito might opt out. You have Chapman going to be a free
Trevor
agent
Story
moving
could
forward.
opt
Trevor
out.
Story, like that. I just hate when you squander potential windows here, and it feels like this team to me didn't really believe in this year's team, didn't go all in the way we talked about, and now you have a team that, when you look across the American League, like you just said, Milliken, last segment, there's a real opportunity here.
You just said the key word. The fact that we even had to bring windows. There used to never be windows. Every year was the window. Now we're talking about, we can't squander the window. We got this one little window. We got to think of it. No. There were never windows. Every year you reload Boston Red Sox, John Henry. Okay. You reload every year. If you don't get it done this year, no problem. You reload. And you do it next year. And you go find people and you have, guys coming up or guys you get in free agency or trade for. That's what this team should be. That's what the best teams do. And the process has failed them. And they're better. It's better. But it's not what it needs to be. It's not what it was.
I do think the return of Justin Slayton starting today is going to be massive for that bullpen. If you're talking about a bullpen that's been arguably the best in baseball for over 2 months at this point in time, best in the American League, number 3 in all of baseball. You add Slayton, I think he's as good as Whitlock. You have Chapman at the top. That bullpen should be in better shape. And you're going to get Willie Abreu next week. I think the real focus that's going to start to happen here is with David Hamilton coming back up and doing his thing. How long is it before they tell Massa to go, hey, you're not giving us anything at the DH spot.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll put Duran at DH, who continues to look awkward in left field and just doesn't read the ball well, isn't very commanding. I think back to that Giants game earlier in the year where he wouldn't call off Nate Eaton, and that ended up blowing up in your face. I think that's the next thing you start worrying about with the Red Sox is how those pieces fit and where Peyton Tolley factors in.
Yeah, so Milliken, yesterday we got the news that Tolley was going to get pushed back, correct? And that they was either going to start or he was going to piggyback off of someone else's start. But is there a chance that we see him sooner rather than later up in Boston?
I think sooner rather than later is the right way to frame it. I don't think it's going to be this turnaround. I think Kyle Harrison, who they took out early on Tuesday, only threw 38 pitches through 3 innings. I assume they're going to go to him, but I don't think that's something that locks him into the next rotation spot because Alex Cora's told you hit and miss. They are not impressed with him. Justin Willard, when he initially got here, was like, a couple weeks down in the minors, we're going to bring him up. His secondaries haven't developed. He has an okay cutter. That's really all he's working with there. It's a bad slurve, and it's a nice fastball, but it isn't Peyton liking Tolley's fastball. To me, they know Tolley gives them their best shot to win. I would pair him with another reliever out there. You can pick your poison. If you want a righty, Richard Fitz would have really been a nice matchup there. But I think Bernardino, overall, what he's done as an opener the last couple of years, it's a sub-120 ERA. He's good in that opener role. If Tolley can't throw more than 70 pitches, cool. Give him 4. Give Bernardino 1. That's 5 innings. I'll take that as my number 5 starter.
I'd like to see Tolley involved. And just one other thing, because you talked about this guy, and I just can't escape. Maybe I'm blinded by the World Baseball Classic, but I can't escape it. I feel like if the Red Sox were going to do anything in the playoffs, Masataka Yoshida will make his presence felt. I just feel like he'll be a pinch hit, a big series,
Look
a big
at you,
stretch.
glass half full here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think that's going to be a guy for some reason who he's kind of sucked. He's flown under the radar. I feel like just this feeling where if they get into the playoffs, that they're going to have some success. A part of it will be because Yoshida won them a game or two, or got hot or something.
I have the
and they wrote
complete
it.
opposite feeling as you. Whenever
Okay.
he's up at the plate, I'm like, this guy is going to do absolutely
Okay.
nothing. No, I hope. Look, I hope I'm
But
wrong.
if he's
Yeah.
just what he was the last 2 years, where he had a 109 OPS plus and a 115, you would do backflips. You'd be so thankful. It's just whether he's going to have the amount of time. Because if David Hamilton keeps doing what he's doing, we know this team regrets not dealing him over the offseason. He plays a great second base, too. We know they need the defensive help, and that's where this team thrives with their pitching staff. I think they'll lean into that a bit more.